like Tony Cascarino, who you've admired as a Millwall fan, comes up to you and introduces himself.
Do I find what, Neil?
Yeah, do you find it quite surreal that somebody like Tony Cascarino?
It was like meeting.
I've got a new lease of life, because Brady will probably tell you, like or Sadler will definitely tell you, when I wasn't playing, I was getting dropped or I was injured, I used to go into myself really, really bad, and I was depressed. I don't know if that was the right word, but I just go into myself and go into my shell and just be really, really down. To be honest, I hate that. I had to play week in, week out, otherwise I just didn't feel right. So when Dennis actually rang me, all of a sudden I've just grown 6 inches overnight. And
but going into coaching, I thought made sense for the club.
Yeah, was it good to play under him?
Yeah, very good. I think with Rhino, you knew what you're going to get there, but he was actually a lot mellow.
Lesser individuals would crumble under that kind of hostile environment. So I think initially we had to find our feet at the new surroundings, but it was by far, you look at the facilities they had, it was state of the art, and it was just a case of moving with the times, because it would have been nigh on impossible to fulfil all the criteria at Old End, because it was falling to bits.
So he's just like a yard and a half off the ball. He just steps up, puts a bit of shape on it, nice bit of fizz and a bit of shape, and all I've got to do is guide it. But when I went in, head, neck and shoulders, crash, right, top right-hand corner. And again, the ground erupted. Maybe I've stuck me nut in so thing. It's like someone had volleyed it. But it was like, all I had to do was take the pace off. The pace was on the delivery. So all you got to do really then, Neil, is guide it. You know what I mean? And I think we ended up, we topped up winning 3-0. And then afterwards, you got all the old firm, the leftovers from like treatment and F Troop. They won't let me buy a drink.
So it couldn't live much better. We've gone from the reserves at Chelsea to the first team at Millwall. You must have actually been enjoying your football by then.
Yeah, what happens is, I'll tell you what.
I'm just trying to stay level-headed, but it was that was probably a good thing that I was away for those few days, because I could just really have a little bit of time away from everything and just kind of really soak up what I'd done.
And you come back, and at what point were you told that you were going to start against Everton?
The day. So I walked into the changing room, and the way the changing room used to be set up, you obviously had your starting 11, and then you had your subs shirts always in a certain place. So I literally just walked in and headed towards the sub shirts. So as you can imagine, I got upstairs, I signed my contract, I walked into the changing room really happy, got over to the sub shirts, and I've not seen my name, and I was honestly like, no, I'm not in the squad. I've obviously signed my contract, and maybe
again defensively solid overall.
A couple of pretty good goals as well, wasn't there, from Timmy Cahill and Neil Harris?
Yeah, Chopper's goal was incredible. I remember he scored and was sprinting and jumped on him. I think I was the first one to jump on him somehow. Just the relief to get that goal was fantastic, because what was kind of during that season, we knew that we had to be on our top form to get results, and again
when am I not going to be injured? You can't focus on them negatives, and you just got to give it the best you can. And that's when the next season I really gave it a go. I come back stronger. There was a period actually I come back too strong because I hadn't been on the football pitch. All you can do is pump weights. So for a slight guy like me, I was pushing like 120 kilograms on a bench press, which is unheard of, because I channeled my energy into the gym. So when I come back, if you got within arm's reach, you couldn't get around me. But if you went any further, I couldn't move. So. Baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
There we go. Hi, welcome. It's Friday night, 8 p.m, and welcome back to another edition of that Millwall Podcast Friday Night Live show. I'm joined as normal. Good evening, Barry. I am joined as normal by our regular show guest, which is young Neil Fizzler. Good evening, Neil.
Afternoon, evening, Mickey. Good evening, everyone.
And we will be joined by Omar in a while. Good evening to everyone on the chat, Barry, Keith. So then, it's been a good evening, Stuart, all the way from Los Angeles. I hope you're well, fella. It's been an interesting week, to say the least, Neil. So we're hit briefly on the game at the weekend. We obviously lost. What was your views on that?
It was fucking awful, wasn't it? Let's face it. I'm still mentally scarred by it. I never like losing to backward northern shitholes at the best of times. But to lose to a fucking place like Barnsley that we crushed during the miners' fucking strike, was a bit hard to take, especially when we went behind, went level, and then pulled back again. It was fucking depressing, to be quite frank with you.
No, that's it. Don't worry, Adam. Omar is coming. We've renegotiated his contract and he's now said yes, so he's coming back. No, Omar's working a little bit late and he's on his way, so he will be on air very, very shortly. But you're okay. You got us, so yeah, we'll be there for now. No doubt Adam will no doubt start the Tinder rumours again in a minute, so yeah.
Yeah, the vaccination boys are here. Yeah, those of us that have had the Oxford Pfizer in our fucking arms in the last 2 weeks are here. Don't worry, we don't let a fucking little injection put us off.
Have you realised though, Neil, Millwall Podcast is breaking the national average. It's normally 1 in 3 people of the population's had the jab, but there's 2 out of 3 of us what have had it. So yeah,
it's fucking brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think we missed Cooper on Saturday?
Mate, I think we missed Cooper every time he ain't playing. It was noticeable when he came back in, the difference on Tuesday night. I think we've spoken a lot about Pearce, haven't we, over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah.
And there's just absolutely no comparison between the two players.
No.
Yeah. He's a massive, massive loss, and we look a lot slower without him in the side.
No, that's it. And I mean, I think the problem was as well is that I think Pearce has just got to understand that he don't really do a lot. But I mean, Cooper he just brings something different to the team when he's in. They just look different. They just, they're
he's a quality active player at the end of the day, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is an absolute quality player.
No, definitely.
If we can keep him, and we can keep him for quite a long or for the rest of his career, I think he's one of those players who could go on and you could be talking about him in 10, 20 years' time as one of the modern great players. I hate this comparison, legends and things like that, but he could be a significant player for this club for 10, 20, for the next few years, and we could be talking about him for quite a long time.
Yeah, no, possibly. I think he's, I think he showed his class when he come back in. But obviously, we lined up on Saturday up front with Bennett and Wallace, and then obviously we had Scott Malone, Sean Williams, our best friend Ryan Woods, Thompson and Romeo, and then obviously along the back we had George Evans, Pearce and Hudson. Evans is looking to be a great addition to our side.
I tell you what, I just want to bring something else up, We're talking about, there was a lot of negativity about not playing a forward last Saturday, but I think it worked in a perverse kind of way. We looked a lot more mobile, a lot quicker, and we caused them problems. I think if we could have...
What, you mean we playing playing Wallace in a striker on a striker position.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're playing him and Bennett. It gave us a lot more pace. Yeah, and we caused them problems. Our problem was with no Cooper at the back, we were susceptible at the back, and we got done by 2 long balls from memory.
I have to hold you there, Neil. Breaking news. Our leader and the man who must be obeyed has entered the room.
Come on, FC!
Hello, chaps. Evening, everyone in the chat. Evening, boys. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Not too bad. We're talking about, obviously, we're just briefly going over the Barnsley game, and just obviously we were talking about whether or not Bennett was Cooper was a miss, and then Neil's just thrown an interesting point in, as in where we've been playing Wallace as a striker. Did it give us any advantages?
What Wallace played up front? Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I personally do like Wallace being up front. I mean, we've had it before, haven't we, with the 5-3-2. Adam's calling on a forfeit. I mean, is work a real forfeit worthy subject? I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, but you're still like, no commitment to the calls, is it?
I know. Well, I mean, I probably got a speeding ticket somewhere on the M25 somewhere, so that's a commitment to the calls there probably. But yeah, I mean, what's it called? I mean, with Wallace, he's obviously a player. I think he affects games going forward in attacking positions, and I think with him being up front and playing off someone, I think he does kind of have more of an impact on games. I think he does too much for me when he's out wide a lot, and he kind of complicates things and feels pressure. So I do enjoy personally having him further up the pitch myself. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Saturday's game, thankfully, was quickly forgotten about, but it was a bit of a hangover, obviously, on Tuesday. I mean, I don't know if you boys have got on to Tuesday's game just yet, but
not yet, mate. Not yet.
I'm fucking depressed.
Because I knew you were coming, and as obviously I've made show notes, and I thought some of those are going to need both your opinions on. So I was just finishing up really with the Saturday. So on Saturday, Millwall had 6 shots, 3 were on target only, which ain't good enough. But then again, you're playing Wallace in a new position, I suppose. The one thing from Saturday, which again we hit on Tuesday as well, before we moved on to the Tuesday game, is Neil, stop putting comments up. You're throwing me. Right. Is why are we substituting so late? We seem to be, subs were made on Saturday at 75th minute. Smith on for Ben, 85 for Tyler, on for Bennett, and then Pearce off for Bod, Ferguson on for Williams, and then 92 for 2, Bradshaw for Wallace. I just think the substitutions coming in that late in the game ain't going to fucking change nothing anyway. I mean, what's your views on there before we move on to Tuesday's games on late substitutions?
I think I've probably spoke about it enough times before, but I think it just shows he doesn't have enough faith in some of the players on the bench, perhaps. I think, we're talking all the time. I mean, Pearce played, obviously, and came off late in the game Saturday, didn't he, if memory serves me right? But, I mean, I don't know if you lot spoke about Pearce. Obviously, I know you said about Cooper. I'm missing him, but, yeah. I just...
Neil slagged him off, as always.
I mean, I agree with Neil, to be honest. I don't know what Neil's turned around and said there, but, Pearce
I just said that he was pretty ineffectual, and it's because of him that we lost, really, because there were 2 balls put into the box and we didn't deal with them, and Cooper is our rock at the back.
I feel like defensively, he reads the game well, and that Pearce is experienced defender, leader of the team, and he sets the standard. But he hasn't got the pace to keep up with a standard Championship forward there anymore, and he's got no height advantage either. So you can't say he's got the pace to keep up someone, and he hasn't got the height to then win headers either. So you think to yourself, well, aside from obviously being a great leader and reading the game, doesn't do much else. That's the problem we've got. Gavin's shouted the drinks. Yeah, anyone on what we're drinking today, lads? I've just grabbed myself some orange juice when I ran in the door. So
that's a great question. What are we drinking today? After my week on Twitter of being absolutely fucking hounded by the Pepsi trolls, I am sticking with the faith. Real Millwall fans love Coke, or as the Chancellor got caught out in an interview this week. Coca-Cola, as he done an interview this week and went, "I'm addicted to Coke," and then all of a sudden he went, "Oh no, sorry, I'm addicted to Coca-Cola." So,
did he say he's addicted to like Colombian Coca-Cola or something?
Yeah,
Mexican Coca-Cola. There you go.
Mexican Coke. Yeah, he went. Yeah. Adam brings up a good point there, right? If you go out to a club and you have JD and Coke,
I'm a lager drinker, man. I can't deviate from lagers too much. I think spirits I'd venture as far as vodka with like an energy drink to get me going on a night out. And aside from that, maybe a gin. I don't mind a gin, but
no, I love a gin.
The rest have got to grow on me. I can't drink brandy. I know Mickey's a brandy drinker, but I can't do it, man. You not brandy?
I only drink brandy if I go out to the cigar bar and I smoke a big fat cigar with a brandy or a decent
You're whiskey then. That's it. You're whiskey. Yeah.
I like whiskey, decent whiskey, and that's good.
Can't stand either of them.
So
vodka Red Bull all day long, but you can't sleep for about 3 days afterwards.
That's it. Heart palpitations whilst you're in bed. So.
Vodka Red Bull. I gave up. When I was a teenager in that early 20s, I drank fucking shitloads of vodka Red Bull, and then I went on to JD. I went on to JD when it was weird. One of Jem's best mates, my missus, sadly died, and he was a big JD drinker. And at his wake, I just went, I'll have a JD and Coke for him as such. Literally from that moment on, I just drink JD. I've got bottles of it sitting in the cupboard, Jack Gentleman. I've got the honey one in the freezer. I've got loads of different ones. Stuart, who's on the chat, my pal in LA, we went and saw them last year when we went over to Vegas to get married. And he gave me a wedding gift of a peanut butter whiskey. And that's superb in the freezer. That is absolutely superb. So, I agree with you, Josh, but unfortunately, that's what got picked up. So it is Coke Zero, but it is still Coke, and it tastes pretty much the same. It's just it doesn't do your teeth in as much. So
the cans are confusing with Coke and Coke Zero because if you're not looking for that band across the top, you can easily pick it up by mistake.
Yeah. No, that is right. That is right, Gavin. Vodka Red Bull was a drink in the days after a few lagers, or some of the slang name for this was quite a few use after a few lagers too. So yeah. No, that's it. No comment. We won't incriminate ourselves. Fuck me, I look like a DHL fucking delivery driver today, don't I? Do you know what I mean? But anyway, we're going on to Preston. We played Preston Tuesday night. We had 13 shots on target. We had 13 shots, 3 on target. We had 51% of the possession. We played a 3-4-3. We had Wallace Bod, or I think we just rename him, Neil's best mate, and Bennett up front. In the middle, we had Romeo Woods, Mitchell, Malone. We'll come back to Mitchell in a bit. And obviously, we had Evans, Hutchinson, and Cooper. Great to see Cooper back. Even better to see Mitchell in the squad. We'll start with you then, Omar. What was your thoughts on Tuesday's game?
Even better to see 3 attackers on the side as well. So obviously we didn't say it, but Saturday's game, he went obviously with the 3 central midfielders from the start, didn't he? And so you could just tell it was not really there on Saturday for us in that sense. But Vartson, that's a talking point, isn't it? I think are you referring to him as Neil's mate here? I mean, are we going to get a little rendition from Neil in a minute? I think, but yeah, I mean, look, I feel like the first half was below standard. I think it was still a hangover from Saturday's game. Took us a little while to get going. But, to end just quickly on Barnsley as well, I think, Barnsley have won their last 6 games on the bounce or something silly. So, to lose to Barnsley at home, they're raising a lot of feathers recently in that sense, or raising a lot of eyebrow, shall I say. I don't think it was an atrocious result when you look back on it. And then, yes, Tuesday's game was just great to get back to winning ways. Billy Mitchell was superb against Jason Malumbi. Maybe it looks like, it's a wise decision not to spend X amount on Malumbi when you've got a youngster sitting in the squad that's keen to make an impression. I mean, I don't know what the chat thinks about that, but, Mitchell, I thought Boston midfield on Tuesday night.
You're getting your own back here, aren't you? I showed you the show notes earlier, and now you're fucking jumping well ahead of the show notes.
I did not remember that. You know what, mate? I've been so busy today at work, not to say that, all that story. I feel like you sent me the notes, and I was being polite and going, yeah, it looks good, mate. As in, I saw loads of words on there, and I was like, that's not bad effort, mate. I'm pleased for you. So. But I mean, I guess we want to hear about Neil and his mate Bud Vartson, I guess, because I know a few people in the chat, especially someone in here that's a mate of mine. He's for Bud Vartson, so this could get interesting.
So
your mate's a cunt then, isn't he? Really? Yeah, because Bavardson deserved to be up there with some of the worst fucking strikers this club's ever had. To be honest, And yeah, although he he
mate.
played actually quite well the other night.
Oh God, you don't get this on any other show, do
He
you?
played quite well the other night, so then that's why
Yeah,
someone.
I've just said that. Yeah, I've just conceded that he played quite well the other night.
So then, how's
But
someone
he's
a cunt for saying he done it right the other night as well? If you're saying the same thing, how funny.
Yeah, but he did all right. Yeah, but I still don't want him at this club. Yeah, I don't think he's good enough to be at this club. We want to move on from players that can't score goals. Yeah, he doesn't create, he doesn't score. So what's the fucking point of him being here? Just get rid of him.
I think in some of the current setups, what we're using him for, I don't think he's comfortable with him, and I don't think he's playing well. But when we start to get it changing formation and we start playing different ways, then he seems to be okay. He can stick good balls in, and he's running and he can get behind people and that, and he has good game. I mean, Saturday he had a good game. You can't say he didn't have a good game on Saturday. He was all right.
Well, he didn't play Saturday.
Yeah, you mean Tuesday
night.
Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, I have already conceded that he did play all right. Yeah.
Well, this is it with Budvarsson.
But to be honest, you can probably count the number of good games he's had this season on 3 fingers. Yeah, he played all right. Did he play all right at Preston away? Was it where he put himself about a bit? Am I thinking of
Bristol
the wrong
City?
game?
Bristol City was the one where he was.
Yeah, Bristol City. Yeah, and then
the game after he played all right.
Yeah, but you can actually count the. Yeah, well, I don't mean to call your mate a cunt, but you know what I mean. Yeah, he just doesn't bring anything to us. His good games are so few and far between. It's a waste of time. We're paying him good money. We paid good money for him. We should just be expecting a little bit more. But the most depressing thing is he's under contract next season. I was genuinely getting excited that in May I could say, bye-bye, Bob. Thank you very much for all you've done. Now fuck off.
I think...
No, you can't.
Well, this is it though. Something to sum up his Mick is bane there, but something to sum up his Millwall career in that first half, wasn't it? The first 10 minutes where he brings the ball down superbly with a little flick. He's then faced towards goal, about 25 yards out, goes for goal, and then the shot goes almost for a throw in the far corner, and that is something that just sums up his Millwall career. Where you can tell the application is there, you can tell he wants it, you can tell there's not a good player. You can tell that there's a player there that's obviously, played 50, 60 times for his international side, albeit for Iceland.
Player there somewhere.
Decent player, just not from Millwall. Not from Millwall.
Yeah, so, I just don't think he's a Millwall player, to be quite frank.
Okay, let's go on to the first half. What's your thoughts of the first half? Because we were texting obviously in our group and whatnot, and to be fair, I think it was quite a dog shit fucking first half. To be fair. Until Malone scored, before we went in, it looked as if we could have possibly got fucking spanked there.
I think you had two sides out of form, to be honest. I think Preston were on the back of a 3-0 win against Huddersfield, but aside from that, they hadn't won many before that. And since the turn of the year, they've been one of the poorest sides in the league, to be honest. So I think their side that's kind of struggling for form since they've signed 3 or 4 players in January. And then with us, I mean, I don't know what it was first half. I found myself tweeting about it, and obviously, Mill come back and,
mate, you look like a monk.
Do me wrong, exactly. But I just think the first half, the players were kind of playing in first gear, not really kind of. I'm not going to say the effort wasn't there, but they were playing like they're already on the beach. You know what I mean? In the sense that it's the same you normally say for the last 3 or 4 games of the season when there's nothing to play for. It did feel like that early stages, but I don't know if that's because Preston were a poor side and not making it a good game in that sense. But, we were honestly just shocking. And I agree with Darren Swan there. We were pony, as also what Gavin Smith said there. And then
exactly, I absolutely
step forward. Scott Malone though. Scott Malone only scores worldies. You know what I mean? Like
that was
unbelievable.
That was, people are going on about the rapist's goal. Yeah.
Sorry. No, he wasn't convicted. Hang on. We're fucking live, Neil. So that it's not even alleged. He was quashed in the High Court and found not guilty.
Fair enough,
he was found not guilty, and had his conviction and everything else overturned.
All right, then. Yeah, but they go on about his goal, yeah? And it was good, yeah, but it came from a mistake, yeah? Scott Malone's goal was absolutely out of this fucking world. It really was. They backed off, and bosh, in the top corner it went.
Yeah, they did. Scott Malone's goal, I'm not going to take that away from you. Scott Malone's goal was good, but Chad's goal, like him or not, that was a good goal. That was on the volley, and that just fucking steamed into the goal. We shouldn't have given him, to be fair, as much space as he had.
It was us losing the ball. It was us losing the ball on the halfway line. I think it was.
And who was it ambling back towards him?
Who was it? Romeo?
Ryan Woods.
Well, okay. We'll talk about Woods in a second. But on the build-up to that goal,
favourite player.
This is the difference between the first half and the second half, though. First half, we're playing the ball around the back aimlessly. No one really with real conviction doing anything with the ball. And then you've got, I think it was on the left-hand side between Cooper, Woods, and then it might have been Malone. But then I think Cooper sets the ball back to Hutchinson. Hutchinson then takes a poor touch, tries to get there, and then they're off on their way counter-attacking on us. We lose the ball on the halfway line, and then sure enough, albeit a great strike, as we said, from Ched Evans. I mean, I think Neil's just making up for not being in the stands to sing a few songs about him. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think he's obviously a class player and you give him the chance to take the shot and he buried it. But I feel like it was our own fault. A lot of it in the first half was our own fault. And it was a game we should have kept a clean sheet in, I feel like, because they were not really that great at all.
No, I agree. But, you know, his goal there, then obviously I'm glad that we scored before half time. And then obviously... we come out, whatever was said to him at half time, obviously worked to a degree. We come out second half. We weren't great for most of it. And then obviously we get the second goal. And what's your views on that? I don't think it was handball. He definitely hit it with his head. Omar?
What sense, sorry? Was it handball? I've not seen people saying it's just handball.
There's a few on Twitter what was saying, you know, Bennett done his hand of God.
Well, it must be right then. If it was on Twitter, it must be handball.
Brave header. Let's say it was a header because it was given. Brave header.
It was a header. I mean, in the slow motion of the Millwall clip, they fucking slowed it right down, and it's definitely a header. It's his arm's nowhere near it. It was a good header.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But the second half, it was less of passing the ball around aimlessly around the back for no reason. You know, I think in the first half, we made more passes, 270 passes, I was reading earlier today. And then in the second half, we made like almost half as less as that. You know, it was a case of get the ball forward, attack, and try and force the situation. And that was not epitomised by the Ginger Perlo, as I'm sure people will be talking about him as. And I'm just to ruffle some feathers in here. Woods, you know, a great ball over the top. Bennett's brave, gets on the end of it. And, you know, poor from the keeper, to be honest. The keeper hesitated for no reason. And obviously Mason Bennett capitalised on it. And I don't think he's a Ginger Perlo, just to distinguish before you call me a see you next Tuesday, Neil. But, you know, I feel like he obviously contributed. It was a great assist, and it's his first assist for the club. So that's all I'm
Mate, to be totally fair, yeah, I know that me and Mickey aren't Ryan Woods'. We wouldn't win any popularity contest with me and Mickey. But you've got to say that was one hell of a ball. Yeah, that was one of the best passes. Mickey, you have to unmute yourself if you want.
Someone fucking keeps muting me as well, Omar.
It's not. No one
has the power to mute you, mate. You must be muting yourself, pal, and forgetting to unmute yourself.
Yeah, honestly, that pass by Wood was absolutely blinding. Yeah, he isn't my favourite player, but I will say if somebody does something good, yeah, that was one hell of a pass. That was.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
And to be fair, it was an even better finish by Mason Bennett.
No, look, I think it was a good finish by Bennett. I think it was a good ball in by Woods. I think that when Woods tries, he pulls off some cracking moves. But the problem is that whether or not it's confidence, but confidence could be low amongst the team. I mean, someone said earlier on about Budvarsson that his confidence low. I mean, I know that he got death threats on Twitter, hence why he took his Twitter stuff down and everything else that he was getting proper cunted off on there.
Has he closed his Twitter again?
Yeah. His Twitter's gone, mate. His Twitter's gone, mate. But yeah, no. The other thing as well. Do you think? I mean, we talked briefly about it, but and we'll talk about it again with you being here now. Is we definitely welcome Cooper back on Tuesday. With Cooper back in that team, we looked as if we could, pretty much cover anything what was coming against us.
Even if Cooper did nothing in the game, it's just that the presence of knowing he's there and, an experienced player now at this level, championship level, and also left-footed, offers balance to the side, and then Evans moves back over to the right-hand side. Hutchinson in the middle, I think, was superb, by the way. I think Hutchinson won. You hear him on the commentary every time in the second half, calling Hutchins, winning it every single time. Great header, straight back the other way, big fuck-off header back to Preston or to the forwards up front. So, I think it just brings confidence to the rest of the team. And I do think, not to criticise Pearce again, but, Pearce is the kind of player where you look at him and you see you can take advantage of him. You know what I mean? You can see, the frailties of him. It's like, you just know, you stick someone next to him that can run, bit of legs, and they're gone. And, I think definitely having Cooper back was a big plus. And fair play to him. He's dislocated his shoulder twice this season and come back in quick succession very quickly both times. So,
proper Millwall, mate.
100%, mate.
I don't know what the chat thinks of this, but I'm starting to get a bit depressed with Gary Rowett, to be quite frank. This defence.
Are you on the right show, Neil?
Yeah.
Oh, just checking.
It's this defensive fucking style of play that we're using, yeah? 6 defensive players. What do we have? A back 3 and then 2 defensive midfielders. Yeah, I just couldn't see us winning the other night, and it was utterly, utterly, utterly depressing. I don't mind us losing, but I'd like us to fucking try and win a game of football.
No, that's it. No, I totally agree.
Yeah, I think we've said it in our group chat, yeah? I don't know what our chat thinks, but it's starting to get that I don't really want to watch us play at times.
But second half, Neil, was a lot better.
Quite happy. You are.
But second half, if you have the same as the second half for a 90-minute game, I'd be more than content with that. No, I think second half it was less of the aimlessly passing it around the back for no reason. It was straight up at them, trying to force the situation. Did you not feel that second half?
I was too fucking depressed. I started to read a book. It was more fucking entertaining reading a book on the fucking last cricket season before World War II than it was watching that first half. It was fucking awful.
But are we here to
be the same?
Are we here to be entertained, or are we here to try and get results? This is the fine balance, isn't it? And people debate this all the time. Do we want to watch?
It's shit, and we weren't getting a result.
But then since the turn of the year, we've only lost 3 or 4 times. There's improvement there to be seen. I feel like I agree with you, though, Neil. It's boring. It's boring.
Yeah, well, I actually agree with this comment here. Sorry.
Will you stop fucking touching the comments?
No. Well, I was trying to.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're too cautious not to lose. Yeah, and that I think is 100%. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that. But that's just throwing it thing. I mean, I was going to go here with Keith saying, listen, we've been playing this way all season, which we have. We've been playing shocking where you don't want to watch the games all season. And I think there is, I agree with that. With Gavin was saying, I think we're only playing this way because he knows that he can play the defensive because that's the strongest part of the team and the people what are absolute warriors. So we're having to test the striking options we have. And then obviously we can
you thought it was as shit as we did, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I do. I don't think it's shit. Yeah, I do. I don't think it's not. But I think most of the games this season have been shit.
We've lost one of stuff for doing. We've lost one of our last 10. So, and I think on the form table we're in the top 10. So, what more can we really ask for from the moment? Obviously, considering the run we went on into Christmas and prior to Christmas and after Christmas, up until that Huddersfield game, I think I agree. But we was all come before the Huddersfield game. We was fearing we might not get a win. We was thinking potentially we might have to change the manager, and he stabilised the ship in that sense. Even though we've not lost many games this year, I do think he's stabilised the ship in the sense that we're secure. We're 4 points away from 50 points, which at this stage of the season we're safe from relegation. I mean, that's a win. But then I agree with you, Neil.
But the fucking football is dog shit. You don't want to watch it.
But then, Neil,
you don't want to watch it.
This is coming to my next point, which I bang on about all the time. What would make you identify more with this team? Having young players in there that play for Millwall, that are Millwall fans. McNamara's sitting on the bench. Mitchell's playing in midfield, and we all loved it. Look at the chat. Everyone's talking about Mitchell going. Mitchell played well. Mitchell's the leader.
I'm with you.
Play the kids.
Well, we
Yeah,
come
well,
on to that
now I'm
now.
with you. Yeah, now I'm with you. Now I think we're safe from relegation. Yeah, let's put McNamara back in because the boy did not do a thing wrong when he was in the side. He was most unlucky to lose his place to Marlon Romeo. And let's face it, Marlon had a couple of good games, but has reverted to type, really.
Well, let's look. I agree with you there, but let's go back to two of the players on that night. One we were talking about earlier on in the season that we were cutting off that we didn't buy him or we made a fake bid when we knew he weren't going to come. We didn't want him on loan, etc. Malumbi versus Billy. Billy head and shoulders won that on Tuesday night. He fucking bossed him all over the park. I mean, if you're in the comment, add your thoughts on Jason and Billy battle on Tuesday night, but I think Billy just fucking showed him what it was all about.
But Mickey, imagine how quality it would be to have Malumbi in there doing 2-foot tackles next to Billy Mitchell. How quality would that midfield pairing be? And that's what I think I still think we've got to go back in for Malumbi in the summer. I think his loan spell at Preston's not working out. I think he got a lot of stick online after the game, I was told, on Tuesday night from Preston fans. And, I agree, Mitchell won the altercation, but you see Malumbi and he was so angry. And you just know next time he comes up against Billy Mitchell, if that's the scenario, he would remember that. And that's what I love about Malumbi, that fight, dogging mentality. You know what I mean? If you have a midfield pairing of Mitchell and Malumbi, energetic midfielders, and you've got Evans at the back that's kind of trying to dictate play, I love the idea of that. But yeah, do you know what? Billy Mitchell proving exactly why we don't need to spend silly money on Malumbi, I'll tell you that.
Neil, your thoughts on those two?
Well, let's not get too carried away. It's only one performance, yeah? I'm going to bring Omar back down a bit. Yeah, he played well, but let's see him do it consistently. Yeah, let's see him have a consistent run of games and stay fit because he hasn't done it yet. But no, I agree. He played well, but it's one game. Yeah, Malumbi wasn't the greatest, but then again, he wasn't brilliant for large parts of last season, really, was he? Yeah, he flitted in and out a bit. There's no way that we were going to sign him permanently. It's a waste of time even discussing it. Yeah, it was but it was a throwaway bid when they knew he was going to go to Preston, knowing that our fan base would be up in arms about it.
I agree with you there. I think it was media bullshit where, the story was leaked by the official team paper. We know that. We know it was, how it was done, how it works. But I think that Brighton are banking on the fact that he's going to be worth a few quid in a few years' time, and they want to nurture him and then possibly sell him for 4, 5, 6 million in a couple of years' time and make good on their investment. I don't think he's possibly got a permanent role in Brighton because they've got a few other players what are good. They've got that lad what played at Boca last year who plays in exactly the same position as him and he's possibly better. So, yeah, I think, we'll probably get him, but I think we're going to pay for him if we want him. And I don't think
he isn't good enough for the Premier League. And I don't think that we can afford him. They're going to want £5 million plus.
I think his value is depreciating.
I
don't think he's not. It's not a good loan spell for him at the moment. He's not getting the same traction he was for Millwall, for example. We all loved him, and I think Preston fans are the opposite. So to judge that a lot, I think. Yeah, there you go. Brighton if they go down. But this is a good question. Who was the comment on there? 1 second. Was to do with... Here we go.
Yeah, just to answer Josh Byrne.
What about this one here? Sorry.
There.
That's a good question.
It got taken off. What about this? Come on, there's a real question here. Who gets dropped when Kiftnbeld and Lenny come back? Great midfield options to have, no?
Well,
we're gonna play 6 midfielders.
Who are you going to drop then, Neil?
Well, I'd release Williams, so that's one place gone. Yeah. I would send Woods back and not sign him, so that's 2 midfielders gone. And I'll be very controversial. I cannot see Ben Thompson getting a game in that midfield. Yeah, I cannot see Ben Thompson getting a game. I'd sell him at the end of the season, to be quite frank. So
I imagine he'll want 4 central midfielders because if we're going to play, I think
he's got Evans, hasn't he? Yeah, he's got Evans. Yeah, he's bought Evans to play in midfield.
do you know what you're saying? Like, you know, you're really pissed off about next formation, and a lot of people are saying it as well. But I think he's going to stick with this. I think this is what he sees long term for us. And if you look at the run we had last season in that Christmas spell where Jed Wallace is scoring free kicks and winning us games, it was the same formation. I think he thinks the five at the back is the best way forward, and I think he thinks that's what's going to suit us. I think he won't. I pray to God he doesn't renew Ryan Woods' loan. Just Woods doesn't fit into our system. I know he got an assist the other day, and I know everyone was waiting for that moment to say he's a brilliant player. I don't doubt he's a brilliant player, and I've said this countless times before. I just don't think he fits into a team where he's got three central defenders behind him. You want players running past him, players for him to pass to, i.e. Mason Bennett making the run into the box the way he did the other night for him. So I think I can honestly see a midfield pairing of Leonard and Mitchell. That gets me excited. I do agree with Neil Sally about Ben Thompson, but Ben Thompson's a great squad player to have. He can fit in anywhere and do a job. So that's
but will he want to hang around, getting a game every 4 or 5 weeks?
Well,
I don't think he would.
You never know.
He'd probably end up going, and he got a long contract with us, and he just signed a new.
Last season, I think he signed a new deal. So before he got injured, so
he'd probably end up going. I mean, I think Thompson will end up going to Portsmouth anyway. He'll either end up going. With you. I think he'd probably either go there on loan, or he'd go there and be brought. But I agree with what's his name there as well, though. That's what we need. We need at least 1 or 2 proven strikers. I know we've got 6 on the books at the moment. What we found out,
we're going back to our conversation of last week, though, ain't we? The conversation last week of either you spend big on someone, which I think Mickey, you concluded we won't spend and we won't gamble, or you try and pluck someone out from non-league that's going to be or League 2.
What Mickey didn't realise was last week, though, if we sign somebody for 5 million, you don't need to pay 5 million up front. These days, transfer fees are paid over the term of the contract. So if you give them a 5-year contract, that's only £1 million a year. We didn't actually get into that last week, but just to point that out.
We didn't get all the money. We didn't get all the money for Saville. We're still waiting on some of the money for Saville. So I know what's what.
Yeah, well, somebody suggested Jordan Rhodes, but he's a professional northerner. He ain't going to want to come down south.
He's past. He's tarnished as well. His record, so to speak. So I think he's still contracted to Sheffield Wednesday. Anyway, he's still knocking about there, is he not? So
for about 100 years, I think.
Yeah.
See, even there, I mean, even with Woods in, they all start ahead of Ben, don't they? I think Ben. Once they start coming back, I think Ben's time in the squad is over. I think Rowett's just keeping him there for an option in case there's a few other injuries, which obviously we've got a few other injuries, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I mean, the good news, I suppose, with some of the injuries, the players should be back for April. So once the
April, that'll help us, won't it? Yeah, we might as well just fuck them off now, really, and just play the kids. I actually agree with Omar, and I think somebody else mentioned.
We got international break in a week and a half's time, so we've only really got 2 games before 3 games, is it, before international break? 4 games before international break, and then it's done. So
we've got Blackburn, Derby, QPR, Middlesbrough all before Rotherham on the 2nd of April.
So now is the time to actually play the likes of Tienza. Yeah, who I think
just give him a go. Yeah, he's the left back.
I think you can't lose Bury.
Yeah, but let's give Tyler Bury a couple of games. We're safe in mid-table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's a no-brainer now. Hayden Muller. Although I did notice Muller's not been playing for the reserve.
I think he's injured.
I don't know if he's injured.
Yeah, I think he's injured.
I agree with you. Like, I think young Alexander is still suspended. I think he got sent off a couple of weeks ago.
There's normally a couple of people in the chat would know all about the youth side. So if you know about the youth side, are a couple of them injured, and is Alexander still on the banned list as such, can't be playing.
Yeah, but he was banned on Monday. So if it's a 3-game ban, I think that'll be the second of 3 games.
So going on forward, obviously we'll look ahead to the game on Saturday, but obviously we substituted Bennett 92 plus 2. Bit of a kick in the arse for Bennett for not getting a full game again. That would have been his 3rd in all his career, but possibly due to injury. If he is injured and obviously there's talk that Bradshaw's injured as well. That's going to be a fucking pain in the arse for us, isn't it?
Standard, isn't it? Mason Bennett. This is, 2 goals in 2 games. 2 good goals as well, by the way. The first goal on Saturday against Barnsley, I thought was class. Counter-attacking, gives himself a bit of space, left-footed, guys it into the far corner. That's like perfection. Can't knock it.
3 and 4, isn't it? Or
yeah,
3
exactly.
and 5.
Yeah, the one against Reading as well. But, and then also Tuesday's goal, brave header, 90 minutes. Showed he can run around for 90 minutes and put an effort in. And I think we give him that. We're giving him his stat for completed games. I think, 92nd minute, I'm giving him that. I'm disappointed if he's injured again, though. I'm not sure what the deal is, but if he's injured again, it sums his career up, unfortunately.
Allegedly, him and Bradshaw have got Achilles problems.
Are they probably maybe problems that could be nursed? Maybe they can be kind of carried it through.
Possibly.
Maybe a lot of these injuries. I think Wallace is a typical player like that. Jed Wallace, he often doesn't train a lot during the week and will turn up on a Saturday and play. So, I think maybe it's an element that, we need to look after him. He started the 2 last games. Maybe he needs to sit out. But if you sit him out against, a team out of form in Blackburn, who's going to come in and take that position and put an effort in? That's, it's the question, isn't it?
No, that's it. I mean, yeah, look, he looked fine in the tunnel after the video.
Yeah,
he did look fine. And it's been reported.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, once he actually cools down, and if there is a problem there, then that's when the problems occur. Yeah, I can't believe if he was carrying something that Rowett wouldn't have bought him off a little bit sooner.
No, well, I think it was after his goal, allegedly, but whatever, he could have landed wrong. But he got brought off, but he was in the tunnel video after the game, what the players, what the club did. But it is being reported in the Blackburn papers and the news at Den. So it could be just media bullshit to just, mind games and everything else, and they suddenly turn up on Saturday and play the full fucking 90 minutes. It is what it is. There's a thing here. I think, Keith, are you on about George Alexander? Not great, or I don't think you're on about. I don't know Graham Alex. Do you?
Yeah, George. I think he means.
Yeah, I think he means. Yeah, we're never going to pay 60 grand for a player, fucking per week.
And I wouldn't want. Yeah, but I wouldn't want Fletcher either, to be quite honest.
No,
fuck all. Yeah.
So going in. Into Blackburn, we've got Blackburn at the weekend. What formation and what scores are you thinking? So, what formation are you going to be playing on? If Bennett's fucking injured and so's Bradshaw, you're fucked. But what formation are you going to go for on Saturday then, Omar?
5-2-3, isn't it? It's going to be that. I think at this point he's not going to deviate from it. And you know what? Like I said, it's not pretty. But I think the second half was better. And if you show intent and go forward with it, instead of just easing your way into games and start from the front foot, I have no problem with it, to be honest. And I do get that. I think it'll be a similar sort of team to Tuesday. I think I'd want to start Mitchell again. We need to obviously be careful of him and not get an injury because, like I said, we're playing mid-table. We've not really got much to play for at the moment. But there's still an outside chance if we pick up some wins. Who's to say that we can't, by April being touching distance, the league's thrown up more surprises in the past. So, yeah, I mean, I'd go with Bielkowski in goal. I'd go same back 3 as the other night, which is obviously George Evans, Hutchinson and Cooper. I'd put Maloney at left wing back. I'd start Danny McNamara at right wing back. Please, Gary Rowett, please. I don't know why he's been dropped. I don't know if he's nursing an injury. He's been on the bench every single game since. I don't think Romeo has done a lot wrong, but I don't think Romeo has done much good either in the games he's played. It's nothing impressed me to think, okay, yeah, I can understand why he's brought him back in the side. With Romeo what you get. And you know what? He gets a lot of stick, Romeo, but for reasons that maybe might not just be about his football ability. But I think what he offers us on the team, he is a good player. But I think McNamara just shown that bit of class in the 3 or 4 games he played, that to me, there's a player in there that we need to see play more games and see if he's actually up to scratch. What happens when he goes through a bit of bad run of form, or if he has a dodgy game, if he gets booked early on, can he get himself through the rest of the game? A lot of things we don't know about him just yet that, I'd like to find out. And if you're McNamara, you must be pissed off if you see St Johnstone win the cup the other night. Like you're thinking that could have been me involved in that. So, I mean, I think definitely I'd play him. I'd play Malone left wing back because there's no one else available. Mitchell and Woods probably continue in the middle for me. Again, injuries prevent the others coming in. And then I'd probably keep Bennett, Wallace, and John Daddy Woodfarton up front.
Malone's been a good player for us, though. He's shown yeah.
Well, yeah, I think he's offered stability, something that we didn't see from him in his first spell with us, where, you know, he was relatively young in his early 20s, obviously got a big move to us in a sense, you know, probably got paid a fair chunk after signing from Bournemouth. I think we paid 500,000 plus McCroy for him. So, you know, he's a good player. I think, you know, he's always offered that. He's energetic, he can get up and down the pitch, and he's got an end product on him now. Unbelievable goals.
Malone's actually my player of the season.
If it would have been Leonard for me, but Leonard's injured.
Yeah, so it would have been Leonard for me. But,
so what's your...
But he's been injured. I don't think you can...
Malone the first time round, I think the problem was with Malone the first time round, he was young and he was a proper flash Harry and he was a proper cocky little cunt. And now I think he's matured and he's settled and he's letting his football talk.
Allegedly, he was a cocky little cunt, Mickey.
No.
Allegedly.
No, I don't need to say allegedly.
Sue you for that.
He was a cocky little cunt, and he would probably be the first to admit. Past players and other people would know he was definitely a cocky little cunt. But, you know, at the end of the day, young, fucking making it in the football world, 9 times out of the players are. So what's your formation then, Neil?
He ain't going to change much, is he? If he actually changes anything, I think a lot of it depends on if Mason Bennett's fit. But he ain't going to... Yeah, but we know he's got his formation, he's got his team. It's pointless bloody saying, I'd change this, I'd change that, because he won't change it.
No, I think...
Yeah, but it's a question of who he brings in if Bennett isn't fit.
I don't know who. I think it's interesting seeing Wallace start playing in that striker role, because he can score goals from the midfield. If he can start knocking them in from... you know, a striker position, then, you know, that could be your 20-goal-a-season player.
He's not playing striker roles per se, though, when Bodvarson's in. I think it's more so in games where he's up top next to Bennett or someone, then yeah, of course. I think he's effective just further forward, like I said at the start, I think, you know. I just think when he's on the pitch and he's further forward, he causes defenders nightmares. I think that's probably the last thing you want in this league when you've got an informed Jed Wallace running at you, especially when there was a crowd there, you know. He'd take any man on and make him look silly. Constantly at the Den, especially. So, you know, I think if we get him on song and he's up front and he's, you know, causing havoc, he'll do a job for sure. And yeah, I agree with Neil. I don't think there'll be much changes tomorrow. Like I said, I want Danny Mack in, and I think the chat agrees with Mickey. Get some comments up.
Yeah, if you agree with Omar, with Danny Mack needs to play. Yeah, where are we?
Yeah, but I think we all think Danny Mack should play, but he's just one of those that he wants. 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago that he should play.
That's the worry there. Is the news coming out of Blackburn Press is Bradley Johnson and Joe Rankin Costello look as if they could be playing tomorrow, and also it looks as if Adam Armstrong's getting a fitness test today and tomorrow and could be playing as well. He is our problem. If he's playing and we don't shut him down, he could cause us damage.
He hasn't scored in 4. Which, if you're a Millwall fan and you're confident about that, or you're a Millwall fan thinking he's not, that's just jinxed us. So, whatever way you look at it.
Can you just bring up Richard Lacey's comment? I want to comment on it. That is far too imaginative for Gary Rowett to do.
What, Malone on the left, Jed on the right, and Smith in the middle?
Yeah, for the first hour. That is far too imaginative. Yeah. And as for Mickey, our 20-goal a season, what have you got in that Coke Zero?
What's that? What did he say?
Yeah, no, but Mickey said that Jed Wallace could be our 20-goal a season striker. Yeah, what's he got in that bloody Coke Zero?
But he could be. He can score goals.
Chance. No chance.
He could fucking. I tell you, give him more free. You give him more free reign, and you'll be surprised what you'll get out of him.
No chance.
I'll tell you what, though, about Armstrong in particular, I'm quite confident the fact that he's not playing against Alex Pearce, because if Alex Pearce was against Adam Armstrong tomorrow, I'd be probably just not wanting to watch the game, if I'm honest with you. I'd be quite frank. So
I'm telling you now, we don't know that yet, though, do we?
Well, if Pierce plays tomorrow, just so you know, I'll be working, so I will find a way to watch it at 3 o'clock still on my laptop. I'll close my laptop and not bother watching if Pierce starts against Armstrong tomorrow. I'm saying it right now because
he isn't going to start, is he?
Yeah.
Let's face it. Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to gamble on my
know.
job. But if I was a gambling man, if Pierce is playing tomorrow, I'm telling you right now, Armstrong scores tomorrow. I'm telling you, dead cert, he scores tomorrow. Dead cert.
I think Armstrong. Does everybody remember? I think Armstrong played against us for Coventry down at the Den.
Beat us 4-0.
About 5 or 6. Yeah. And he was absolutely mustard.
He chipped
and
David
I said
Ford
to a mate of
30
mine,
yards. He honestly was unreal that day. Every time he played against
I said
us,
to a mate of mine who's a football agent, "Oh, just seen this great guy play." He said, "Yeah, he's my client, Adam Armstrong." I went, "You absolute fucking cunts! Why did you let him play against us, mate? He was absolutely fucking mustard."
Well, this is it. He's always been.
And I've rated him since.
But here's a fun fact as well for that day, Neil. Do you know who was also the Coventry manager that day? Tony Mowbray. So, Tony Mowbray obviously rates him as a striker and has him at Blackburn. So, I think he's obviously a player that, I think for the Championship level, he's probably not a Premier League player, but he's still young enough to make an impression on games and obviously can potentially still grow with it. So, but he's obviously a real handful at this level.
That he's worth 20, 30 million quid they want for him. I've read in the week that they want stupid money for him.
It's the same with Ivan Toney. This is like,
he's a very, very good Championship player, Adam Armstrong.
If you score 15 goals in the Championship in one season, you're suddenly worth at least £10 million. And that's just the bulk of the world we live in. So.
I absolutely agree with you.
It wasn't long ago that there was stupid bids of 5-10 million floating around for Cooper. So, if the Premiership want you, then realistically, they'll pay whatever they want to pay to get you.
Yeah, I think Gavin's right about other danger men. Obviously, Bradley Dack's back. He had a big layoff and he's back for a while. He's been back and I think he's knocking around. And you got Harvey Elliott, who's a hot Liverpool prospect. I think they got him from Fulham when he was like 15, 16 years old. So
again, another player, with a ponytail.
Yeah, left-footed. He's 17 years old, not even 18 just yet, and honestly looks the real deal. So another player to watch out for. But players like that go quiet against Millwall if it was a Den capacity. So.
But one thing I do hope is that we get a proper referee this time, because we were denied 3 penalties up there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the referee was fucking shocking. I think he was from Blackburn, one or some other northern shithole. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, right? We've got one comment here from Barry, right? If John Daddy Bodvarsson scores 15 next season, I'd streak on the pitch at the last day of the season. I'm telling you right now. That's a promise I would keep. That is just never going to happen. Ever going to happen.
Get him on.
Bodvarsson next season stays at Millwall, he would never finish the season with 15 goals. Never.
Let him take every penalty.
I'm that certain.
Every fucking tap-in. Yeah. Omar will streak on the pitch.
Last game of the season when there's a pitch invasion, I'll streak naked if he scores 15 goals for Millwall in a season. Honestly, I mean that.
You know what clips being fucking edited tonight and being put all across Twitter.
It's locked in.
Yeah, well, I've said some pretty stupid things in my time on this podcast. Yeah?
You said it You said it about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, but saying that I would streak at the last game of the season,
are you doing it too?
Barton scores. Fuck off, am I?
Because I'll tell you now, right?
I can edit that to say like you did say it then, Neil.
If Bodvarsson finishes the season, if he finishes the season on 15 Championship goals, it would mean we're at top of the league.
Here we go. It's
it would mean we're top of the league.
Is that all goals?
It would mean we're top of the league. No, next season, I'm saying. If in general, if Bodvarsson finishes on 15, there'll be other players that have scored more than him, because there's no chance John Daddy Bodvarsson would finish as Millwall's top goal scorer. It would never happen. Ever. He's not a goal scorer. He's never scored more than 7 in his career in a season. It's never going to happen.
Like me now, doesn't he?
It's true, though. It's so true, honestly.
So hang on. For clarity, okay? Omar, you are saying, right? And by the way, streaking on the pitch will get you a lifetime ban.
Okay. Well, we might have to revisit that. I will do the alternative. That can be an equivalent alternative that you two can say.
I think a streak down maybe the blue during match day will probably be a safer option.
Okay. I'll compromise.
Actually, I tell you what. A run down the blue wearing a
West Ham shirt.
Oh, that's a bit harsh. No. Wearing Mankini.
A West Ham shirt.
A
West Ham
Mankini.
shirt, yeah?
I've got
a West Ham shirt.
I've got a year and 2 months to get in shape, so I reckon I've got
Mankini,
this.
and you have to drink half a pint in the bank and half a pint in the Vic. So you can nick it, but you have to go from the Vic to the bank. There should be enough people there, enough Millwall. We'll do the bank to the Foresters if you really want to fucking give the Foresters your money, but that's up to you.
We'll make it a fanfare. I don't mind. Honestly, it's never going to happen. Honestly, it will never happen.
Do you know what?
Oh wait. It's a coin of phrase. In a month of Sundays, it'll never happen. I'll tell you now. Who's the month of Sundays in this chat? Anyone? Neil Fizzler, 2021. In a month of Sundays, it would never happen. It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
So then, as we're coming towards the end, I think we'll have a chat about. You've done an interview this week. Then Neil went out this week with Paul Robertson. Interesting chat. Paul Roberts, even interesting chat. YouTube seems to have liked it. There seems to be a bit of controversy about whether or not he actually deflected the punch or actually took it on the chin.
Yeah, it's gone viral for us, that hasn't it? In a Millwall type of way.
Well,
it made Hoff. I
got
say
over 500 views. Yeah. So yeah, it's not doing too bad.
Yeah, which ain't bad for little old That Millwall podcast. Three geezers just having a talking bollocks about our favourite football club, mate. He's a proper fella, isn't he, really? Paul Roberts. It was a very, very interesting chat. If anybody hasn't listened to it, we had to do it in 2 parts because he just went on and on and on and on. I think we ended up something like 2 hours, 15 minutes, which is absolutely mental, and we could have gone on for another hour at least. But by that time, I was sore ass. And he just absolutely mental. Sat here for 2 hours.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, if you're, while you're in the comments, if there's any ex-player you want to see us do on a show, then just drop the name in there and we'll see if we can get them if we haven't already done them. But again, if you only watch us on a Friday night, we are a podcast primarily, and if you check out our website, there's a few players on there. So you've got iPlayer, you've got the Apple iPlayer, Spotify, and you've got our own player, our podcast provider. So you can listen to the episodes on there. We've done now best part of about 70 odd episodes now. We're still only new ones into it.
Can I answer a few questions here? Yes, sore ass, what's happening with Neil? Unfortunately, I fucked up all of the nerves down one side a few years ago, so I find it very difficult to sit still for anything longer than about 20 minutes. Ben Thatcher, Joe Zampa said, apparently I've been told he won't do it. Rhino, similarly, I don't think he's done any. Ashley Grimes, yeah, it's a potential call. Gordon Hill, I'm not sure if he'll do it, but we could try.
I've got his number, I think.
Terry Hurlock.
I've got his number too. We should be able to get Terry, I reckon.
Good. Yeah, probably. Get Ian Holloway, says Daniel Holler.
This is the sort of energy I channel. Barry Powell, man. This is the sort of energy. See, you ignore my shout. What's going on, Neil? Carlos Fangero. Come on. Remember the man?
Can you translate?
Do you remember Carlos Fangero? Portuguese Wizards?
Then there's one here, I think, Chicken George. Yep, he's on the list.
Yep, so he's on the list.
Yep, Nethercott.
This one's on the list.
E.T., unfortunately, I'm quite good at finding people, Joe. But E.T. is somebody who's dropped totally off the radar.
But we might have a way into him. I might know someone who might be able to get us to him. But again,
possibly.
He's on the list.
Muscat. We've put a call into Muscat via a player that has been on our show in the past. and we're waiting to hear back. Denny Salmon, would love that. He lives local to me, so it might even be one I can do face to face. Mark Beardy, come on, son. Yeah, but if you are listening, we've been trying to arrange this one for ages. Yeah, Jimmy Abdu's definitely on Omar's list.
Mhm.
And if somebody's got an in with Jimmy Abdu,
Well, that same person that suggested Jimmy Abdu he might come with you. So, well, we'll have to wait and see. So we'll talk more about that afterwards.
Yeah, Paul Ifill, great guy.
We're waiting to confirm a date for him. Mark Kennedy's a great call, but I don't know if he does shows anymore.
No, he won't do it. I've been told by another former player who asked about him.
We did do David Ford on a free keepers. We've done David Ford with David Ford, Brian King, and Horny.
Brian Horn.
And that's on the podcast. We have got some clips coming out on YouTube over the weekend of Fordy talking about West Ham games, the West Ham game in 2009-10 season. There's some stories there. Colin Cooper, he's on the list.
Andy Roberts. Yeah, well, Andy Roberts, I have emailed, but he didn't get back to me. Yeah, unfortunately. Richard Lacey said Alex Stepney. Alex Stepney, I don't think, does anything without payment, and we're Brassic. Yeah, we don't get paid for this. This costs us money.
Notice we haven't got Super Chat where you lot aren't donating, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Morrison, I think we had a call into Morrison, didn't we?
It's coming. Morrison's coming.
Can you get Harris or Wise? I have asked a friend of Neil Harris's.
And I've asked a friend for Wise.
And I think Harris, it all depends on what he plans to do next. I don't think he'll do anything. Harry the dog, that would be a blinding interview talking about that documentary, wouldn't it?
Fucking hell, yeah, but that's never going to happen. But yeah, right. So
yeah,
okay then, Nick. Okay then, Neil. We're going to again put a clip up over the weekend of this one for next Wednesday. Who have we got for next Wednesday?
Oh, all right. We've got George Jacks, player who played for us in the 60s and the 70s. Actually, somebody's just actually mentioned Dean Neal. Dean Neal is actually a target of ours as well. Yeah, we've got George Jacks. Very, very good value. Good mates with quite a few people from back then. Played when we won promotion from Division 3. Unfortunately, missed out on the game against Plymouth Argyle where we lost our 59-match unbeaten home record. But had a lot to say. Had a lot to say about Eamon Dunphy, as always, and other players of that era. So if you're a little bit older, tune in. You'll absolutely love this one. He was blinding, absolutely superb.
Mickey, mate.
We are arranging with him.
You're an amateur.
I don't turn it off. It keeps getting turned off. Casey's on the list. We were arranging with him a few months back and pinning him down. I would love to have these two on. They have done. I think I can possibly get to them. They're definitely ones what we want. There's a lot more on the list. We have made a wish list, and we are going through them. But look, I hope you're enjoying Into the Lion's Den. It was just really a way of getting some of these stories, hearing them from the players. And I think we've had a couple where they've been quite emotional, you know, Marvin Williams, Cherno, you know, we've got some truths out Mark Phillips and Scotty Taylor's possibly coming as well. So, yeah, we've got some good players and some good stories, what we want. We just want it to be laid back. We want it to be conversational. We just want to listen to them talk about what it's like. We've all dreamed about playing for Millwall, and hopefully it comes across like that. So yeah. Also, if you want to go on our website, there's a button now where you can press and get involved in the show. If you want to, we're looking to take guests in now for Who Are Ya? So if you want to get involved on Who Are You, there's a little form to fill out on there. Or even if you want to get on one of the other shows, there's a form on there where you can fill out, put some details in, and we'll be in touch. It's that millwallpodcast.co.uk, fairly straightforward. But we are slowly getting more and more professional as we go on. And obviously, Who Are You? We need guests where you come on and answer the dreaded 20 questions. It's fairly straightforward. And it's just about your time following Millwall, best away day, best memory, that sort of stuff. Nothing too hard, nothing too strenuous. You talk to one of us on a one-on-one, and there it goes.
I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait for that Millwall podcast away day. It's coming. I promise. When we're allowed to go back out, it's coming.
It's definitely coming, mate. And Millwall podcast in the pub. There's plenty of ideas where actually once this fucking lockdown disappears, we can actually do what we set out to do from day one. And unfortunately, yeah, you get what we've got. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm pretty much at the end. Omar, what you got to say?
1-0 Millwall tomorrow. If Alex Pearce plays and Adam Armstrong plays, maybe 2-2. But 1-0 Millwall tomorrow. There you go.
Neil?
We're going to nick it. I said it in our group chat on Tuesday. I thought we were going to nick it. And I think we're going to nick it again tomorrow. I think it will either be 1-0 or 2-1. It'll be pretty tight. And I think that we'll just about get the result.
I've got a 660 milliliter bottle of Stella sitting in the fridge waiting for me. It's been there for a week. I'd love to come home tomorrow to have that, and Mill will get 3 points. There you go. Fingers crossed.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel, for kind words. Glad you loved it. Is it the first time you listened to us? If so, we're on every Friday. Make sure you tell everyone else. And yeah, we've got a special show lined up, International Week, dealing with men's mental health. So again, we've got some great guests on that show. So it'd be great to see you all there. And that is pretty much it. We're done for another week. We will be back. This show will be loaded up later and will be out tonight as a podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. And it's time that we fuck off. Thanks. Bye.